We did it!
Yay!
Yeah, we finally released our book. I'm here with Alex, my friend Alex from Japan, and we did a road trip, photography road trip in 2022, and we made a book out of it. We're calling it a book. We first called it a zine, but it is much thicker than we thought it would be, and there are 2 stories in it, and I think it is a book, right?
Yeah, definitely. It would be disingenuous to call this a zine. 126 pages, I think over 200 photos. So this is definitely a book, and yeah, I want to make that very clear.
So in this video, we want to basically show you what this project was all about, show you a little bit of behind the scenes of the trip, talk about the book making process as well, but we also have some stories to share that we experienced on the road itself. And if you want to buy this book right now, it's available. I will put a link in the description. It's on Alex Shopify store, but you can go to it via the link in the description or check out our websites. And it's limited to 200 copies because Alex has to do all the packaging and shipping, and it will take too much time to do it again. There will be 2 stories, so you can see my point of view and then Alex's point of view. So you can read the book from one side. So Alex's story goes from the right side to the left, which is the Japanese way of reading a book. And then my story or my images, they start from the left and we meet in the middle. I think that's a cool idea to do this way. So why don't we start by explaining the audience why we even did this trip? Just to remind you, it was 2022. We were still, or Japan was still locked down basically from the outside world, and we were still in the middle of the pandemic. But I happened to visit my family, and then Alex and I, we decided to do something together. We didn't want to do street photography at that time. We kind of felt tired. And why did we explore Kyushu, which is a prefecture that I was not too familiar with, but Alex lived in Kyushu, in Fukuoka. So let me know tell the audience why you wanted to do this.
Like you said, we didn't feel like doing street photography. We're a couple of street photographers, right? And first of all, let's talk about us calling ourselves street photographers. Like we don't have to be called street photographers. We are photographers. I've started my photography journey doing portraits, doing car photography, you name it. To limit myself to street photography, I think is disingenuous. I think to both of us, really, because we're doing different genres all the time. So why do we have to be stuck doing street photography just because we, associate ourselves with that the most? I mean, it's not necessary, right? So why not we break away from street photography and go and do a road trip? And during that time, mid-2022 in Japan was still very 100% masked, like maybe 99% masks. Doing the street photography with the people with the masks on, people always say, oh, you're photographing an era and you should take advantage. Well, that was really boring and tiring. And we needed to break away from that scene, especially in Japan. I had just come back from the States in the US where things had already normalized for over a year. And so I was coming back from the US back to Japan, back to Fukuoka, not excited to go back out on the streets and do street photography after having experienced everything that I experienced in New York and California going back home to the US. So I thought, well, let's break away, let's go on a road trip. I'm moving to Tokyo soon. I'm selling my car soon. I'm having a lot of life changes. I'm saying goodbye to the city that I lived in for over 8 years of my life. That's why it's called Goodbye Kyushu, right?
So that makes this project very personal to you. And for me, when we discussed the idea or motivation behind this, for me, I don't have any personal stories to tell myself in Kyushu. I've only visited it once, Kumamoto, with my family. And Kyushu is known for the beef, right? Wagyu beef comes from Kyushu. Lots of nature and mountains. So that's why my part of the story is called Hello Kyushu, right? Because I'm like, yo, what's up? Show me what you got. And you were like, I'm leaving you all. Love you all. Bye-bye. That made it interesting to me personally to have to show this contrast between each other. And you were shooting film and I was shooting digital. So there's also an aesthetic contrast between our images. And with this project, I also didn't think that I would do landscape photography. When I think of a road trip, I think of an experience. So I was like, I don't even want to know where we are going. I mean, we made a plan, but I was like, let's see what's happening on the road. Maybe we see an accident or, anything can happen. So I was very excited to just be ready and react as a street photographer maybe, but react to an environment that is not a city. And I also just recently moved out from the city into the countryside. So I was really looking forward to see how I work in this quieter environment. Okay, moving on to the actual road trip, let's tell people what we actually did. So it was a 4-day road trip. So not that long, but we spent all morning until night on the road. But the first day we actually didn't hit the road yet. We spent the day in Fukuoka, where Alex was living at that time, because there was a festival happening, a traditional festival that is happening every year. It's called the Yamakaza Festival. On a side note here, Alex and I actually met for the very first time on the same day in 2019. That's when I visited Alex. He was one of my first YouTube subscribers, and then we became friends. And then I came all the way from Osaka or Tokyo, I don't remember, to Fukuoka. And then he told me, oh, you just missed, you are just about to miss this big festival. But we saw the practice day, or where they were practicing, preparing for the event.
It's awesome. What timing? It's the amazing, perfect timing.
So I got a little bit of a glimpse of this festival. Because of COVID, they had to stop, obviously. But in 2022, they started doing it again.
I got my Olympus.
And you can see people still wearing masks, of course, but we were allowed to gather in a big crowd. And it was, not only exciting for me to see that, but for the whole city. You could really feel the overall atmosphere was like, finally we can do this again. So it was a really good start to start this. And I think we went there 5 in the morning, 4.
Yeah, super early.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about this festival, because you know it better than me?
Yeah, sure. So this festival, Yamakaza Festival, the participants in the festival who carry these floats, these big, huge floats that are on wooden beams, and they race them through the streets, and they're basically in teams. So each float, or Yamakaza as it's called, it has a team, and that team is comprised of people who live in a particular area of Fukuoka. Each team member has residence of that particular area, and so it's very, traditional, full of history, and people that have been doing it all their life, literally since they're children, all the way until they're old and can no longer walk anymore. Because there's some really old guys out there still going at it, and it's a festival with a lot of energy.楽しいですか、山川さん。
楽しいですよ。
楽しい。何回目ですか、今日。15回とか。15回？すごい。 Yamakaza の、好きな特徴は何ですか？
飲めるとこ。
飲むのとこ。
I can drink. I can drink. I can speak loud.
あ、いいですね。
So after running, beer.
After drink.
You run?
Only.
Only.
I love it. People get up super early in the morning. Some people just stay up all night and just don't go to sleep because you're waking up so early. So actually, when you go super early in the morning, you can see a lot of drunk people out on the streets already because, you know, they've been drinking from the night before and they just continue on until the morning, and then they watch Hakata Yamakaza festival go on, and yeah, it's a big thing.
So much fun, and even though it rained a lot, but the whole energy really carried me and motivated me. And actually, I catch COVID that day, probably.
Probably.
Which we'll talk about later, maybe. But it was really fun, and your friend Will from Fukuoka also joined us. Shout out to him because he made a proper documentary, right, about this. So we will definitely link it up if there's a link. I hope we will do that. And yeah, that was the start. And then after that, we spent the rest of the day in the city still, because we thought we would do some street photography in the city, document Fukuoka. But it ended up being a very chill and quiet day because the festival was just ended. Everyone was quiet, going home probably to sleep. So there was not much going on. But we filmed a YouTube video for my channel on that day. I can't believe how productive we were on that day. And I bought a lens for the trip, the 70-200.
You have to buy some camera gear when you're in Japan, of course.
Don't show how bad my gas is becoming.
Which lens are you looking for?
Alex's friend Will had this lens today, a 70-200 f4. It's stabilized, and I tried it. It's very light and it's super sharp. And I kind of need a tele lens. You know, I can show you the images I took in the cafe. Here. So it's like 70, 200. Look at these details, bro. And then, yeah, the look is very good. Look how sharp it is. And then
pretty sharp.
I like, you know, these kind of photos I can't do with my wide lenses. A little bit of experiment. And even this, you know, f4, this is wide open.
It's pretty nice.
And it's the contrast, something about it is nice.
Yeah, it is nice. And
then on the next day in the morning, I think we hit the road, right?
That's right.
What we also should mention here is this whole trip, this whole project was actually funded by you, by the community. Thank you again, by the way. It's because of you that you made this happen. We got a lot of support via donations and channel memberships. So everyone who contributed to this book project is also mentioned in the book. And of course, we didn't want to, you know, stay at fancy hotels and eat fancy food. All right, it is lunchtime, and just to show you that we are not, because we got some support from our viewership, we are not eating at high-end fancy restaurants. We are eating convenience store lunch boxes and fried chicken, which is good. It's cheap and it's good enough. So
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you.
and it saves some time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
On to the next place.
Okay.
It's a Buddhist temple, and we're finding a lot of stuff along the way.
Yeah.
We'll take photos of. We found this random river with a raging waterfall, and it was just on the side of the road, winding road. It's beautiful. So I can't wait to see the photos for that.
Yeah, we tried to respect the budget that we had and not blow things out of the water because, of course, then we also had to buy all of these books, you know, produce the books. And this isn't a pre-order. We actually spent the money in advance and invested in buying, you know, these books. So Thank you.
The funding we got was already spent during the trip. So after that, it
Yeah.
was just our own money.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah.
This is where our onigiri comes from.
I wonder if I should stop here.
Yeah, this is nice.
I should stop here.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the countryside in Japan in general and what we saw in Kyushu in particular. You told me that Kyushu, or the countryside in Japan, is interesting because time seems to not move on in the countryside. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people have this image of Japan that's a little bit disingenuous to the reality of really how old Japan is and the state of Japan, which is a very old country with a lot of old people and a lot of old places. And yeah, no thanks to like TikTok and Instagram and social media do people have this image of Japan as being like this super futuristic country, you know, with convenience stores that do everything. And that's true to a certain degree. There's some futuristic things, but this is a country that just got over fax machines. And thanks to COVID, kind of pushing everything to be paperless and more electronic, did we push past the fax machine era in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually saw a Showa era museum. You know, we saw some buildings and signs that were very old. So that was definitely one of the subjects for us, I think.
Yeah. So Kyushu is this very interesting experience. So when you get out of Fukuoka City, which is the biggest city in Kyushu, and you get out of there and you go to some of the other smaller rural areas when you're driving around, you feel as though you've gone back in time, you know? You feel as though you've gone back to like 1985. And yeah, I was driving my car, and at sometimes I was thinking, man, like I'm Marty McFly right now, and I've gone back to the future, or back to the past. There's really very little difference visually between the 80s and now, 2024, when you go out into countryside, when you go out into Japan.
We definitely saw a lot of abandoned houses, cars. There was a village that it looked like it was populated by dolls. Like there were no people, just dolls.
Yeah.
Which was a little creepy.
Yeah.
And I have one photo of that in the book. Maybe you can spot it. I made it so that you don't see it right away, but it was very creepy. We went to an underground cave. I think you did not put any photos of that into the book because it was so dark.
I'm shooting film, so...
Yeah, and then I was doing long exposure and images, and it was hard. It was not easy to photograph there, but we saw a lot of interesting things. We went to shrines, temples, obviously, forests. We didn't really meet people, right? It was very quiet. It was also right before the summer holidays.
Right.
So there were no travelers, no tourists, which is nice if you want to do sightseeing.
You know what's cool? We have this waterfall all to ourselves. No other tourists are here.
Right.
I was actually a little disappointed because I was looking forward to see other travelers or maybe some locals. Even the locals didn't really show their faces.
Wow. Okay, we found this waterfall here. It's amazing, it's epic, but we're all here by ourselves. No one is here. We're kind of stuck here though, so not many options.
It's a little hard to navigate through this stuff because you never know, like there could be mud that like just falls apart and suddenly you drop down and you kill yourself.
I would love to go down here, but
crazy.
It's impossible. We have short pants as well, sneakers.
It's not like Honshu or these kind of rural areas that are just outside of Tokyo, you know, or Osaka. Or I think a lot of people come to Japan and they go to Tokyo and then they're like, I want to get out of Tokyo. I want to go to other places out of Tokyo, and they go to rural areas. But there's still a lot of people in those areas. But you go to Kyushu and you're really in the countryside and you really meet very little people. Yeah, the population decline in Japan. Statistics, you see them in Kyushu. You see that in Kyushu for sure.
And you will see some portraits or photos of people in the book, but these are mostly really the only people we met.
Yeah.
Like so
this
there
guy.
are still a few people in the book. Yeah, on the cover here. So at least we got a few people. But it was also nice to see how we compose when there are no people, right? So that was still a very meditative process for me. Speaking of meditative and mindful, let's talk about the Zazen incident.
Yeah, sure.
So what happened was that Alex had all these nice, beautiful shrines and temples researched for us, and we went to these places, and oftentimes they were empty, but sometimes you would see a priest or a monk, and there were some, how do I say it? We basically acted like gaijins would act sometimes.
We gaijin smashed our way into this shrine, or rather, I'm going to be honest, you gaijin smashed way harder than I did. So
I should know better.
Yeah.
So
you're the Japanese one.
yeah. So there was a big shrine where a priest or a monk was doing a service for two people, and they were walking on the shrine itself, on the temple, and walking into it on some kind of balcony or something like that. And I thought, oh, you can walk there, and then there was a place where you can take off your shoes. So I thought, oh, cool, I can walk here. And I took my shoes off, and then I walked very quietly and respectfully, so I thought. And then this priest saw me, and he was like, "Nani yattenda?" So like really angry Japanese. And he was like, you cannot walk here. Go away. And I was like, oh, sorry, sumimasen, and feeling very ashamed.
I saw the whole thing. I looked up. I was taking photos over here. I looked over to my left, and I'm like, is Sam like on top of the platform shrine thing? And I'm like, is it okay to be on there? I don't know. It's probably okay. And then the shrine priest came over and started yelling at you.
Yeah, I felt so embarrassed. And he was like, can't you read the sign? I was like, actually, I can't. Because I can't really read Japanese. But I told him, sorry, I didn't know it was not allowed. So that was one incident. And then on the same day, the next shrine, I think it was high up on the mountains, which was very beautiful. You could see basically until the horizon. It was very high, nice weather, blue skies, fresh air. And then we were taking photos like very, in my opinion, very mindfully, like very quiet. We didn't talk to each other. We were just like experiencing this place. And then Alex had this idea to ask, there was a female monk or priest.
Yeah, a monk. Yeah. So you got in trouble at a Shinto shrine. I got in trouble at a Buddhist temple. And it was for the most innocent thing, really. I was trying to be as polite and respectful as possible. And so we were in there, taking our photos quietly, really not disturbing anything. And then the temple monk came out. Really kind of amazing character she had, bald head, and with her clothes. And she had just finished, a meditation or a ceremony.
Zazen.
Yes, Zazen, which I have done. I've done Zazen for like 6 hours straight.
Can I read you real quick what Zazen means? I did my research.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Zazen is a popular form of Buddhist meditation in which participants sit for lengthy periods to try to achieve inner peace and explore the meaning of existence. That's basically the definition.
Yeah. And I've done that. I've done that before in a rural area up in the mountains for 6 hours. And it was an amazing experience. And so I thought like, hey, look at me, like, you know what? I know what Buddhism is about, and I know what Zazen is, and I'm gonna talk to this, monk and try to, work up a conversation and be friendly. But she was not very friendly
for a while
at all.
with her. like
Yeah.
50 minutes at least.
Yeah. And I asked, hey, how are you? And I'm a photographer, all in Japanese. And nice to be here. It's beautiful here. May I take your photo here in this environment? Is it nice? And she got very angry with me, and she started lecturing me for a long time.
She was like, immediately she would say, no. Like, no.
No.
And now I tell you why.
Yeah, she started lecturing me for a long time about how photography is not Zazen. It's not fitting for the Buddhism lifestyle and this space that we were in. And yeah, basically lecturing us that we should put the camera down and experience it just with our eyes and not with the camera, because a camera, what did she say? A camera cannot properly...
Can never be Zazen.
Yeah. And a camera cannot properly, capture the essence of the area, which is true. But it's just how she was going about it. She was like just very arrogant about it. It really put me off. It was unfortunate, but I was being very polite back to her. And it was just so unfortunate because she had a really great character. I wanted to take a photo.
It made for an interesting thought idea to explore how mindful is photography really, or how much are you really present when you're taking photos, right? And I felt very present. I was looking at all the little details.
Yeah. Studying everything.
Right? And spending a lot of time watching and observing, this little pond with the koi fish. And I was just looking at it. Oh, it's so beautiful. May I take a photo? Like very relaxed. And she was saying, no, it cannot be Zazen. Yeah, on the way back, we had to walk all down the hill again to the car. We were all like, what is she saying? This is not Zazen. Like, we were present. How dare she? But of course, we as visitors, we come as guests. We have to follow the rules. But it was funny because we felt very respectful.
Yeah, we tried. We tried.
Thank you. Yo, let's do a kanpai scene. Kanpai, Beppu.
After a few more shrines and forests, we stayed at this one city. We only visited really one town outside of Fukuoka, which was Beppu. And Beppu is really famous for their hot springs. And a lot of Japanese people travel to Beppu, especially during winter, to enjoy the hot springs. And then I think the people living in Beppu also get access to onsen water. So you get regular water, and then you can also get onsen water.
Okay, welcome to Beppu. We just arrived in Beppu. It is raining. The haze or fog or the steam of the onsen is pretty crazy. And the sulfur smell is pretty bad. But yeah, we arrived and we were hoping for a sunset. I mean, we are pretty lucky today. We got some amazing weather. Whenever we took photos, the sun came out. So let's hope we're still lucky.
Driving into Beppu, you see all the sulfur, the smoke from all of the hot springs that are in the area. And I was like, I think we're here because I can't see out of the window.
Yeah. But
can't see out of the
we
front
were there in
windshield.
summer. In winter, it would be even more extreme. You would see smog all the time. But we still saw it in summer. The problem again was that there was no tourism. It was not the right season for it. Of course, we did a little bit of research beforehand and had ideas what we want to do. And we actually reached out to a very popular YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you might know, maybe not. His name is Dogen. He does like Japanese language videos, sometimes comedic. Yeah, mostly funny.
Mostly funny.
And
But very educational. Some of them are very educational.
Even
I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah,
actually.
he goes very deep into like how to pronounce things and stuff. But we know that he moved to Beppu, and we thought it would be fun because he just bought a new house and it looks pretty cool to contact him and ask him if he wants to be photographed by us and take a portrait. But we sent the mail 2 days ago and no response. But it's too sudden, and I think he also shaved his head in one of his recent videos, so maybe he doesn't want to be photographed that way. So far our plans. Let's see what's going to happen. And thank you for the coffee, by the way, the vending machine coffee.
Oh yeah.
Say thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
No, thank you to the
Thank you to
donation.
the members. Thank you, Sam.
Members and donations.
In via
Yeah.
your memberships. Yes.
We have to say that every time we drink or eat something, because so far we have been using the donations, the support. Of course, also for gas and my ticket and other things, but we have some left for food, so it's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm going to enjoy my iced coffee. And we see you in the next update. Enjoy this view. Yo, yo, yo. Yo, yo, yo. Hotel update. We checked in. We are in our hotel now. And we are about to go out again because, you know, the night is still young. Technically, there's a sunset in a few minutes, but I'm not sure. It looks awesome though. It looks like blue hour. And it might clear up. Google says it clears up around 10 p.m. Hopefully it will do sooner. But yeah, first time in Beppu, and it looks pretty cool. And we have no idea where to go, what to expect, but that's how we roll.
That's right.
Anything you want to say?
I love you. Let's all get together and, have a no pants party one day.
Later, maybe. By the way, we got separate beds. That's important to say. We got separate beds.
We're not pushing them together?
What?
We're not going to push them together, Make
that's not possible.
happy
You
time.
see, there's a table, so sorry. But
So we ended up spending the night in the city, thinking there would be a lot of exciting nightlife going on, and it was a Saturday night, so we were sure something is going to happen, but no.
No. Yeah, again, this was not post-COVID era, for Japan at all. And this was not, a time that, a lot of people are out because simply there's not a lot of population. And but it's a really, really nice small town. Yeah.
okay, good morning. It's the third day of the road trip. Second day on the road though. We just left Beppu and we are now heading almost back towards Fukuoka by passing through Aso and whatever else we have on the list. Of course, we stop when we see something interesting, and that's the fun part of a road trip, that you can stop somewhere where you normally wouldn't go. But because we are running a little bit behind our schedule, our time, we are skipping another spot and go straight to Mount Aso. And on the way, we decided just right now.
to see, I think.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since I've been.
So let's talk about the last day of the trip, because it was a very hard day for me.
Physically, I'm pretty done. My body hurts so much. I have a huge headache, and oh man, I hope I don't get really sick, because I've been coughing so much, and now I'm actually feeling tired on top of that.
But at the same time, I took photos on that day that I'm very happy with. So basically, the plan was to go to
This area called Itoshima. It's a beach area that has some nice roads to drive around and see the beach, and yeah, taking it slow and not really trying to rush around today, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's raining. Maybe we are lucky, and when we arrive, it stops.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get lucky today.
Okay, Alex and I, we are here on the beach now, on some kind of small island. It's cool. It's very exhausting, and Alex touched my forehead, and yeah, I definitely have fever. I can't even stand. But we just started the day, and there's so much I want to photograph. There are some kids playing here, but I'm just not in the mindset of approaching and chit-chatting. My son just turned 1 year old today. I missed his birthday. There was just no other chance. So I was looking forward tomorrow to celebrated with everyone. Oh, I just heard Alex saying thank you. So he probably took portraits of the kids. Good. Yeah, I don't know what will happen today. I might end up in the hospital. We will see. I still try to, continue because I thought I was just tired from the trip. Later, when I came back to Osaka, I found out that I had COVID, which I probably got at the Yamakaza festival. And I was really stressed because I knew that I need more photos. I was really looking forward to the beach because it's a different location from all the shrines and mountains. So I knew I had to get a photo, at least one photo there. Once we showed up at Itoshima, I started to feel a little bit better, but I was still very, I basically just had to get my samurai spirit up and take photos anyways, because that was also the first time we saw more tourists or people actually enjoying their time outside. We also filmed a video for Alex's channel. And then I remember when we did a lunch break, I took a photo I really, really like of two girls with their mother. And the mother she dressed them the same clothes and took photos of them. It was a very cute moment. And that was kind of the thing that I was looking for during this trip, but couldn't find it until this day. So at least after getting that shot, I was like, okay, it was still worth it coming out here.
Yeah, there's like multiple little beaches that you can go to. There was one area that did have like a good amount of people. I think by Fukuoka standards, that's a good amount of people.
Yeah, there was one beach a little further away from the main beach that was very crowded, and you took that cover photo there.
Yeah. There were a bunch of guys where they were all tattooed up. A whole bunch of guys that they're all tattooed up, and
which is not something you see in public in Japan.
Yeah, like normally you're not going to see people with a bunch of tattoos like this out in public, because by society's standards they're supposed to cover up, right? Normally people like this you would associate with being in the Yakuza, being in gang life, and I was still I was feeling brave enough to go up to these guys, whole group of guys, all tattooed out, and ask the most badass looking guy for a portrait. And these guys were crazy, man. Like they were smoking cigarettes, and like one of the other friends came over, and like right after I took this photo, his friend came over with the lit cigarette and just stuck it right onto his back and burned him. On purpose. And then they were like burning each other and shit. I'm like, these guys are crazy. But yeah, it was really cool, and it was nice to spend some time doing street photography.
And when we both would show up at a place like this, we would of course do our own thing, and we wouldn't even see what we are doing. I didn't know that Alex was taking these portraits. In the meantime, in the background, I was trying to get a photo of kids playing in the water. There was like a tide coming, or wave, and then my feet got totally soaked. And I still had fever, like 39 something degrees, and I had to take my shoes off, and we had to continue driving, or I had to continue in the car without shoes. We had to find a convenience store so I can buy new socks. I bought new socks at the convenience store, but I had to go inside without it, so bare feet in my wet shoes. And then I went to toilet, and then my feet started to get very cold because of the cold air conditioning, and I got some shivers, and it's not good if you have fever to have cold feet. What?
Future update on Samuel's feet coming up next.
It was still a good experience, and it was, I think, the last real location, and we went to some other spot where you can see Fukuoka from a distance. That was also very nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this whole huge mountain with tons of Shinto torii gates, just tons of them all up a mountain, huge mountains. How many steps do you think we had to climb? Like 200 steps easily.
Too much for me that day.
Yeah, 500 steps. Yeah, definitely too much for you.
When you go through the book, you will see that we both meet each other in the middle, and there's one last selfie from us. And you can see also a map where we traveled to. So why didn't we include the exact locations under each photo. Do you have an opinion about that?
Well,
Out of
including
laziness or?
honestly, it's really difficult to include the exact locations for all some of these photos because we're really in the countryside. We're really out in rural areas. At the same time, also, I don't want people to look at our book and say, oh, this photo was taken here at this place, and therefore I should or shouldn't go if I have a chance to go to Kyushu. Because I want people to be able to look at our book, see our photos, and be encouraged to go to Kyushu and take photos there too, and not see it in a way like, oh, Alex and Sam already conquered this area or that area or whatever. Because everyone should go to the places that we've been by accident or on purpose.
And a lot of the scenes we saw, if you see it, you don't know where it is. Could be anywhere in Kyushu. And that makes it, I think, also fun for people who might want to do something similar themselves, to not know too much about an area and be like, oh, this is where Alex shot this photo, you know?
The world famous Alex. Alex Munoz.
I don't know. I mean, not everyone knows about Kyushu, but
Right.
we didn't even travel all the way down. You know, we could have explored more in the Kumamoto area, of course, which is probably where most people end up going when they visit Kyushu. So I kind of like that we explored the north and the east and a little bit of the west, but not really the south.
Yeah, and I had done another road trip previously the year before with another friend of mine, and we went to almost opposite areas of parts of Kyushu, and so our road trip that we did, that was kind of completing the map of Kyushu for me. It was like a real goodbye because it meant that I had really visited basically everywhere in Kyushu by car or by train, and so it was a really good closure to say, like, we went to all of these places over here. I'd been over here, so like Assassin's Creed, you know, you go in like and you fill the map, you clear the map out, and that was basically how I
Yeah, man,
approached
this
it.
is I love doing I love that feeling when you clear a map and discover something new on the map.
Yeah.
That's what I love about road trips. But I think it's time now. We should talk a little bit about the gear we used. Maybe people are interested in that. I know for sure people are interested in that.
Oh, the people
So-
want to know about the gear, about the cameras. So, what was I shooting? Was I shooting some fancy Leica? No, I was shooting a Canon F1 New. There's many different variations of the Canon F1. This was the latest version, and I love it. I love this camera. I mean, just like the build quality is amazing. I'm pretty sure it's brass. So if I was to be more rough with this camera, some brass would show up on here, which is really nice. I'm a big nerd about brass. I love this shutter sound. Oh, that's the automatic timer. We gotta wait for it now. Here we go.
Alex really knows his cameras.
There we go. Okay. And it has, you know, like it has some high-tech features, exposure compensation, automatic, exposure with aperture priority. Actually, this lens is the only lens I have kept like my whole life, my whole photography career life is this 50 millimeter f1.4. Since I started doing portraits, doing street photography, I've always had this lens. And I had this lens adapted to other cameras like Fuji and Sony and everything, and even Lumix and this and that, before I even got the Canon F1. And then finally I got a Canon F1 and I could take that 50 f1.4 and finally put it natively onto the camera it belongs. So
Why did you choose an SLR? Why didn't you bring your Leicas, and why a 50?
So honestly, like I love rangefinders. There's a lot of positives about them, but there's also a lot of negatives about them too. And I'm a big believer in having the right tool for the right job and the right situations and these kind of things. I think that rangefinders, Leicas, whatever's, Minoltas, Mamiyas, if it's a rangefinder, I think that they're really great for street photography. and maybe a few other genres too. But when it comes to landscapes, when it comes to portraits, I prefer a normal SLR, a mirror, box in here, a prism. You can see, the kind of the depth of field that you're getting right away. You can see the focal length, 1-to-1 kind of. And I just prefer the experience for landscapes and portraits with an SLR. And rangefinders, they're good, but you don't need frame lines, when you're composing for a landscape. If the mountain's in the frame or it's not, you know what I mean? So there's no reason that you need frame lines for all that kind of stuff. It's cute, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, I'm glad we also did, kind of like an analog versus digital. It's not really a versus, it's
Right.
not a battle.
Yeah.
But it will show in the book. My images, obviously digital, they have a cleanness to them that you might not have, but you have the grain and the more organic feel that is probably better suited for nature photos compared to digital. But obviously I didn't bring my GIAs to this humid environment. I probably could have done that, but I don't want to break my GIAs. They're not made for humidity and then beaches. So I brought, I was only shooting on my D850 DSLR, weather sealed, and the main lens was this 40mm Voigtlander f2 Ultron. And similar to your reasoning, I like seeing the exact frame and the depth of field. I can still do zone focusing, but that was the perfect setup for quiet moments in nature. And then I also brought my 28 1.4 Nikkor lens, which I didn't use that much, to be honest. I thought I would use it more during the night scenes. I used it sometimes, but this was my main lens. Obviously digital, so in terms of colors, I didn't do much. I used a slight Ricoh profile from Cobalt image on my images. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of a look baked into my images.
Acting natural, take one.
Yeah, I think we said enough. We want people, of course, to discover more insights and our artistic point of view of the countryside by buying the book, looking through the images. Can you show a few pages? Give them a sneak peek.
Okay. All right. We'll have a little sneak peek. All right.
You can barely see the pages, man. You know what? Show them your favorite spread.
Okay. All right. Okay. I did shoot a lot vertical, which was another reason why I chose a SLR, because I like SLRs because you can shoot vertically, I think, a little bit better as well. But
That's also why the book ended up being A4 size, because it fits your images better.
Yeah.
While I
exactly.
was shooting landscape, but then I can do 2 pages, full spread sometimes.
Right. So I like this very much. And this is the kind of the photos that I was going for, where I wanted to show the area and then I wanted to get closer and show detail of a detail from that area, from that spot. Show where I am and show what's there. So that was my mindset about every location that we visited. And so that's why I like this spread right here.
Can you show, let me see. I let you choose. What page do you like?
Let me choose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Choose for me.
I really, really love this one, actually, that you did here, where this is all one photo. This is just a full spread, one photo here. And you can see the difference between this foresty area, going straight into a public bathroom. That was actually like very clean and nice and well kept, and the lights on and like very warm and inviting with this stone walkway into this public bathroom with a nice roof and everything. And it just like, I would love to take a shit right in here. This is beautiful. So
I was contemplating if I should use it or not.
the soap is here. It's ready for you. You can come in. It's clean and you can wash your hands when you're done. The tree in the middle is kind of splitting the frame as well too, which I think was very, very cool, very nice.
I'm very curious to see the reactions because it's not really our typical work, and for me it's the first book that I'm publishing for sale, to sell, even though it's a collaboration. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys are thinking. So again, link in the description. Be fast because 200 is not much.
Yeah. Are you team Samuel? Team Samuel, or are you team Alex?
So Alex is going to do all the shipping, so bear with him when there are some delays. He's a one-man operation at the moment in Japan. I wish I could help him, but yeah, I basically did the design and the formatting and everything, so we were able to print it. But there's a lot of work coming Alex's way. Alex will obviously sign the books. I can't do it, unfortunately. So you have to find me somewhere. We are discussing if I can get some copies shipped over from Japan, and then I can sell them here maybe. Yeah, I guess last words are thank you all for supporting us. This was a community project. Yeah, thanks a lot. That was definitely a fun and needed and important project for us. By the way, very important, international free shipping.
Right. The shipping is being included in the price. So when you see that price, please understand that we are the ones that are paying the shipping cost for you, and that is baked into the price. And there's also seller fees that we have to worry about, the transaction fees, the packaging,
I think
the cost
they get it, Alex.
of making.
It's expensive, we know it.
What's that?
I think they get it.
Okay. I hope they get it.
All right, I will let 2022 Alex and Samuel sign off this video.
And that's it. It's a wrap.
Thanks. See you again. Stay
See you
humble.
again. Stay humble, stay safe, stay shaved.